Good day, students. Today's lecture topic is operational principles of sensory testing. So, when we are evaluating properties of foods using panels as a measuring instrument, it's important to control the methods and conditions of the testing as rigidly as it's possible. So it helps to eliminate the numerous of the errors or biases. It can be caused by psychological, physiological factors. So the mental attitude and physical condition of the taster and the atmosphere of the tasting environment, all its influence their judgments. So there are therefore a number of basic rules which should be applied as strictly as the circumstances allow. So when we are running taste panels, it's related to selection panels, preparing the testing environment, designing the experiment, and preparing and serving examples. So general conditions is that should follows be is never ask anyone to taste food they don't like. So because of course it wouldn't be evaluated by them. So we shouldn't take the person in the panel who don't like the taste of those certain foods. Then we should make that the correct panelists are selected. Uh, we can obtain some information from the questionnaires if they are really suitable for those type of the sensory analyzing or not. Okay, so it can be kind of the age, female or male, or religious contribution, or etc. Then next is keep a strict control over all variables except those being tested. So it can be sample size, temperature. We also should be make sure that the environment gives optimum opportunity for concentration. That tasting properly is a difficult job, so train panelists to be silent while testing. So this prevents panelists from the influence each other, and then make tasting interesting and desirable. Use rewards to motivate tasters, varieties, choose foods that contrast with those being tasted. Motivated tasters are more efficient, and give feedback on the results whenever it's if it is possible. And we should also avoid giving any we should avoid giving any unnecessary information to panelists that may influence their scores. Of course, all of the information should be contributed to the panelists, but any unnecessary, yeah, so it kind of the maybe ingredients. So if it's not unnecessary, so we are avoiding to give this information. And the tasters usually find that they would see expecting. So for example, in storage tests, they expect to find sample deteriorating, etc. And then plan our experiment in advance, which will be best test to use. So consider all aspects, including how you will get the information required from your results as a statistics. So we should plan our experiment. Then preliminary tests, practice, and choose the best methods for sample size. So sample size also have a resulting as the operational test. It can be practice and choose the methods for sample size, serving temperature, and serving vessels, eating utensils, and etc. So serve testers promptly and make sure that having everything they need. So run tests test which is expected a good restaurant to be run, and give courses friendly, and keep accurate records of any cooking and preparation methods used, record temperatures and size of the samples, and any special conditions if it's colored, and etc. And serving temperature, it's a serve at the room temperature where possible. Preference test use normal temperature. Difference test may alter temperature and sensitive to the flavors order, and don't overheat. Yeah, so it is primarily uh, related to the smell taste. So we know that volatile compounds, which is giving this serving, so we should uh, keep the correct temperature, and also sample sizes. To type of the product, it's the strong uh, flavor or less samples, to the type test, the rating scales, or may require fewer samples. Test dictates sample numbering, etc. So those, and then we can use a triangle test for three samples, or type of a panel for trained or not less trained experienced panels. So it's as a general rule, usually not more than 6 samples for each session. So session and trials before starting, we should schedule a tasting session, run 2 preliminary session. And this will familiarize your panel with the score sheet, the products to be tested, and their procedures you wish them to follow. And it's also gives you practice at preparing and serving the quantity of the samples needed, and the last chance to iron out on any unforeseen problems in calculating the number of the session. Consider um, consider the following as a total number of the samples for tasting, statistical design, tasty fatigue, motivation, type of panel, if it's trained on untrained. So then we will take our factors in the tasting. So it's the factors which is influence on of them. Okay, thank you for your attention, and I hope you will use all of this information for researching in the sensory analysis.